"Sir, may I have your leftovers?" The voice was so soft, it could have been mistaken for the wind. But something in it, fragile, trembling, yet dignified, cut through the chatter of the busy cafe like a knife. The man sitting at the table, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, looked up from his phone. He was a millionaire. Everyone in this part of town knew him, or at least, they knew his wealth, his power, his untouchable status. People never approached him uninvited. Yet here she was. A young woman, maybe mid-20s, clothes worn thin, hair tied back loosely, standing like she'd been rooted to the spot by both hope and shame. And she was asking for the cold scraps on his plate. For a moment, he almost dismissed her. He'd seen beggars before, people who mumbled for coins or tried to sell wilted flowers on street corners. But this was different. Her voice wasn't pleading in the way he expected. It was respectful. Like she was asking for the moon and still half expecting to be told she didn't deserve it. "What did you say?" he asked, his brow furrowing. She flinched, but met his gaze. Her eyes, oh, those eyes. Deep brown, but not dull. They held something he hadn't seen in a long time. Pain, yes, but also a stubborn flicker of light, like a candle refusing to be blown out. The millionaire pushed the plate toward her. "Take it." She nodded once, as if trying not to seem too desperate, but her hands trembled when she picked it up. She moved to leave, but then paused. "Thank you, sir. I'll make sure nothing goes to waste." The word struck him like a memory he couldn't quite place. Something about waste. Something about being young and hungry and too proud to admit it. He shook his head and tried to return to his phone, but his thoughts wouldn't settle. When he left the cafe 10 minutes later, he found her sitting on the curb across the street, eating slowly, carefully, as though each bite mattered. It bothered him. Not because she was there, but because he couldn't understand why it mattered so much to him. On impulse, he crossed the street. "What's your name?" She swallowed, startled. "Anna," she said. "Anna Rivera." Her voice was clearer now. He nodded. "And why," he asked, "are you out here asking for leftovers?" She hesitated, like she wanted to lie but knew it would sound wrong. "I lost my job last month. I've been trying. There's this shelter, but it's full most nights. I get by however I can." She looked down, embarrassed. "I don't like asking for handouts. But it's better than stealing." That line, "better than stealing," made his chest tighten. He knew people who'd take whatever they could without a second thought. This girl still had lines she refused to cross. He could have left it there. He could have told himself it wasn't his problem. But instead, he found himself asking, "Do you want a real meal?" She blinked, suspicious. "Why?" "Because," he said, "nobody should have to ask for cold leftovers." Over dinner, hot, fresh, and ordered just for her, he learned her story. She'd grown up in a small town, worked 2 jobs to help her sick mother, and moved to the city after her mother passed, hoping to start fresh. Things went well for a while, until her company downsized. Without savings, without family, she'd spiraled quickly into the cracks of the city. She spoke with quiet strength, never once asking for pity. And the more she talked, the more he saw himself, not the man he was now, but the boy he used to be. Years ago, before the $1 million contracts and penthouses, he'd been that boy who counted coins for bus fare, who went hungry so his little sister could eat. He remembered the night a stranger had bought him dinner. No questions, no lectures, just kindness. That one act had lit a fire in him, made him believe that maybe he was worth something after all. And now, sitting across from Anna, he realized he had the chance to pass that fire on. But life doesn't change overnight. Even when he offered her a place to stay in one of his vacant apartments, she refused at first. "I can't just take that from you," she said. "You don't owe me anything." He smiled sadly. "Maybe not. But someone once did for me what I'm offering to do for you. And I owe them more than I can repay. Let me do this, Anna." She agreed, reluctantly. And over the weeks that followed, he saw her transform. She cleaned herself up, applied for jobs, and started volunteering at the same shelter that had once turned her away. Every time he visited, she greeted him with that same spark in her eyes, but now it was brighter. She wasn't just surviving. She was living again. Months passed. One day, she brought him a box of pastries. "What's this for?" he asked. She smiled. "For the man who taught me that leftovers aren't the only thing worth saving." And that night, as he stood by his office window overlooking the city, he realized the miracle wasn't that he'd saved her life. The miracle was that she'd reminded him of his own humanity, the part he'd almost lost in the climb to the top. In giving her a chance, he'd found something richer than money could ever buy. So when people asked him why a millionaire spent so much time at a little soup kitchen downtown, he'd just smile and say, because sometimes, all it takes to change a life is looking someone in the eyes and really seeing them.